A Bucking Spurs podcast is brought to you by Eavesdrop Studios Podcast Network at eavesdropstudios.com, where eavesdropping is okay as long as you tell everybody what you heard. San Antonio, Spurs Nation, what is up? Cállate la boca, shut up, because you're listening to a Bucking Spurs podcast where we serve up the nasty. A very special treat for you today. Today's episode is going to be centered, of course, around the Kawhi Leonard trade with DeMar DeRozan and where the San Antonio Spurs are at right now as an organization moving forward. Now, very special treat for you guys. Today is a 3-part interview session with Big Papa Trejo. Big Papa Trejo, my dad. Yeah, he's in the house. He's been through it all. He's been through the David Robinson era, the Tim Duncan era, the short and brief Kawhi Leonard era. And we're going to hear his take on the Spurs basketball and kind of what his attitude is moving forward. Then we're going to hear from Senor Stevie Esteban, Mr. Steamy Stevie himself. Steven Garcia is going to be in the house to discuss his very strong viewpoints on the trade, on Kawhi Leonard, and NBA players in general. Yeah, Steamy Stevie gets a little steamy on his perspective. We'll say that. I'm not going to give it all away, but definitely a fun interview there. And then we're going to close it out with our Spurs diplomat over there in Los Angeles, our mole in the hole, if you will, our Spurs fan that's keeping his ear to the ground, planting his flag in the sands of Hermosa Beach and Santa Monica Boulevard, always representing in California, is Phillip Booe, hanging out with us, talking about what Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green has meant to us as an organization. Phillip has been a long time Spurs fan as well. So 3 very different perspectives on the whole situation in general. It's going to be a fun listen. Thanks for stopping by. Now, let's get to it. But first, Sirenova, drop my beat. All right, I got my dad here, Big Papa Trejo in the house. What's going on, Dad?
Doing great, Robert. Here, 9:30 night, trying to get going here tonight. But what's up? What's going on?
You have time to squeeze in before you tear up the dance floor?
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a few minutes. I got people waiting, but there's always time for my boy. What? And the Spurs.
And the Spurs.
And
that's
always
right.
The Spurs. Always time for the Spurs.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's you come from a generation, Dad, where you put the team before yourself. See, there you go. You're putting the Spurs before your night of fun. And these type of players nowadays, they're very into themselves and the brand. That team first mentality is it's gone, man. It's a rare thing.
Well, we look at what it is today. Today is the money. It's all for the money. It's all for the fame. It's all for the individual glory. Very few players now think of, what's good for the team, what's right for the team, what's right for the town. The town's most important because they're the ones that love you. They're the ones that going to support you, especially when you start from scratch. You tend to make a lot of friends as you're growing up.
Yeah. No, yeah. That's something that gets lost how that fan base really supports you. So hey, Dad. So tell me, how pissed off were you that Kawhi Leonard is actually gone now?
Well, I was upset, very upset, but I think they prepared us long enough to know what was going to eventually happen. I mean, the worst part about it is just like anything else, just waiting to happen, waiting to happen. You know how it is? It's like you're at the doctor's office, you're waiting to go see the doctor. The wait is worse than the actual, 5 minutes he's gonna see you and charge you $60 for 5 minutes. But the worst part is just getting prepared for the bad news that's coming. And it's you're happy that it's over. I'm glad it's over, and let's move on. It's time to move on. And Spurs have been great before Kawhi, and they'll be great after Kawhi. That's just the way it is. It's gonna be like that no matter what.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. As long as we have Pop and RC and the organization doing their thing, we should be okay. I kind of wanted to ask you, you know, Timmy's been gone now for a few years, and Tony is now in Charlotte. Manu is still up in the air, and now we're going to watch Spurs games for the first time in almost 20 years, where the only guy we can really count on is Pop, who probably only has a few years left. Like, how weird is it going to be watching games this season when I believe the only people that we have returning from the 2014 championship is Patty Mills and now Bellinelli.
Mhm. Yeah, it's gonna be awkward. We always want to see something half full or half empty. See how that glass is. But it's changing times, and it's time for younger stars to come up, as we've seen the last season. I mean, I enjoyed seeing Boston. I enjoyed seeing Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. The young kids that are coming up, I don't know, they seem to have more heart. More heart nowadays. I mean, I don't know, maybe money has to do a lot, but you see those smaller franchises, and they're up there. I mean, they're enjoyable to watch. It's I think it's going to be great this year. We're not going to have the icons we had before, but I think it's going to be enjoyable. I mean, we're not going to expect much out of them, but hey, look at last year. I enjoyed watching them last year. I mean, we knew that our backs were against the wall. Without Kawhi, thinking that we did have him. We maybe could have gone to the championship. You never know, but it was enjoyable. I still made time to watch it, and I'll make time again this year. I want to see the young players start all over again. I want to see who's the next Kawhi, because another Kawhi will come again. I guarantee you there'll be another one popping up sooner or later.
Yeah, man, you that's why I like talking to you, Dad. You get me so optimistic about the future. But I agree. If we've done that since day one. We've developed players. We developed Tim Duncan. We developed Parker, Ginobili, Kawhi, Danny Green, Bruce Bowen. All these guys that have come and gone. It's not like they came into the league and set the league on fire, except for Tim Duncan maybe and David Robinson. But since then, there will be young guys. There will be guys waiting. You're absolutely right about that. Waiting for that opportunity.
Yeah, most definitely. This trade we just had. I mean, Derozan. I mean, I don't think he's young. I think he's middle aged maybe.
He's 28.
But he's 28. So he's still seasoned. I mean, it's not like he's brand new guy, but it's we want to see somebody that can develop and stay there. And I know it's not Toronto. I think San Antonio stepped up from Toronto, but he's gonna find out that the love he's gonna get here he's gonna be surprised. 'Cause, we embrace everybody that comes in. Anybody who wants to be part of San Antonio, the town embraces them, and we have championships to back us up. That's a good thing. We got the best coach out there, in Pop, and we've got a great system. And that never fails. You play defense, you always have a chance. Always have a chance. Derozan is going to be. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be positive. It's going to be something we're going to be able to use. But we still got to wait for the new guys to come in, and we had a bunch of new guys last year, and surprisingly they were great. I was happy to see a lot of that young talent.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. I think you're right. Like last year, we overachieved. Like we had our back against the wall. It's like we don't even know what's gonna happen. We don't have our MVP caliber player, and we still
and that's great.
And we still made the playoffs.
Yeah, that's great. And that's it's like going to see a scary movie, and it's like, oh man, I want to go see that scary movie. You never know what's gonna come out of the closet, but you know what? You want to go see it. I'm gonna be enthusiastic, positive to go and see what happens this year. Now that Kawhi is gone and we can settle in, relax, enjoy the game, and let's see them start all over again. I think they'll be great. I mean, of course, the powers are still out there. Golden State, it'll be good. Lakers, they'll be good. But Golden State's, still the team to beat. Will always be. Next year will be a different thing, but this year I think they're still going to be the team to beat. And as long as we make the playoffs, I'm happy. I'm happy as can be.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I agree. Right now we're gonna ride the wave. We're gonna ride the wave. We're gonna see where DeMar takes us. What a possible DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge combination can give us. And the thing is, we're the Spurs. Nobody ever counts us in. Except for San Antonio, we know what to expect, and that is consistent basketball. So
yeah.
you never know. You never know. Like, yeah, we were the 7th seed, and we played the Warriors in the 1st seed. The Warriors were the 2nd seed, and we played them in the 1st round. But even then, nobody wants to play the Spurs in the playoffs.
Right. That's correct. That's right. And I think we can only build up from here. I mean, I don't think we're going to go lower. If anything, we're just going to get better. Mm-hmm. Every year, we're going to get better now. I mean, I think there'll be young players want to come and play with us. And, for as long as Pop is there now, when Pop leaves, that's another conversation. But for now, I think the fans have a lot to cheer for. The only thing I hate to, I hate to be negative about this, but the prices of the tickets to go watch them is through the roof. That's the only thing that disappoints me. If not, I would be there, try and be there every single game. But they're expensive now.
Yeah, well, hopefully they go up because, we won a championship and they go up $100. Maybe now that we've lost Kawhi and there's only a few pieces remaining from that championship, it'll level out a little bit and give these guys a chance. Give San Antonio Spurs fans a chance to get in the building and really set the place on fire.
Right. Yeah, I hear that. I agree.
Yeah. No, you know what? It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I think DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge is going to be something special. I think they're going to complement each other extremely well.
I think so. Yeah, I agree. And the young talent, remember, they're going to have another year underneath their belts, and I think they grew a lot last year. Yeah. I mean, I think they come to know what to expect from Pop and what the offense and defense is all about. And you see their game and you see anybody else, and you see the difference right away. That's we're different. We're different than everybody else. And as long as there's somebody that's quick and can play defense, and they'll fit right in. They're gonna fit right in.
Yeah. DeJounte Murray had a huge season last year. We expect big things out of him. Bryn Forbes, a lot of these young guys, Derek White. You're right. There's Davis Bertans. Spurs players get better the longer they're with the organization. That's true.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely, definitely. We're just gonna get better. I think we're just gonna get better from here now. Hopefully we'll have Pop for the next 10 years. I hope, I wish, I pray. But hey, like I said, you'll be in my position. You'll be the old guy, and now you'll be able to talk to the younger guys and see what they think about the Spurs. But they'll be around. That's the great thing about it. They'll be around.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Dad. Well, thanks for hanging out, man. I know you got a long night of two-stepping and salsa dancing in front of you, so I'll let you get ready.
All right, man. Well, appreciate the call, and we'll got to do it again some other time.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's gonna be a good year.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, I can't wait. So we'll be seeing a lot of games this year for sure.
That's right. All right, Dad. Well, I'll let you go, man. Thanks for stopping by.
All right, no problem.
All right, adios.
Okay, bye.
So that was my dad, and if you don't know my dad, and you'll never be able to tell from this interview, is that he's a realist. This guy does not sugarcoat anything. He really likes to just tell you how it is. So to hear him so optimistic really does give me a little bit of hope moving forward into this next season, and gives me a little bit, it's like he's tucking me in at night and just telling me, it's going to be okay. Let me read you a bedtime story about how the Spurs have been successful, longer than Kawhi Leonard has been a part of it. And, that does make me feel pretty good. But up next, we have Steven Garcia, who is almost the complete opposite. And he's a very... He gets a little bit steamy on his take on Kawhi Leonard. So... coming up, Steven Garcia. All right, we got Steamy Stevie on the line. What's up, Steven?
Hey, how's it going, Robin?
What's up, Papa?
Hey.
All right, man.
How's it going, man?
Let's get into it. Stevie. I don't want to keep you too long. So I want you to be honest with me, Steve. I want you to be completely genuine in your response. I know you have strong feelings about all this stuff. You can get steamy on it if you'd like, but let me ask you. Let me ask you straight off the bat. How do you feel first about Kawhi forcing himself out of San Antonio, turning down an extra $80 million on his contract, Supermax contract, turning down an organization that is pretty much cookie cut, tailor made for a guy like Kawhi Leonard? Low key, he has zero personality, but he works his ass off, and he's a great player. Sounds a lot like Tim Duncan, right? So I know you have described a lot of these guys as soft and whatever. How do you feel about the whole situation?
Well, there's a couple ways to look at it. Do you mean coming from a Spurs fan? Because I mean myself, I'm a Spurs fan, and so as a Spurs fan, I definitely have something to say about it. From a general standpoint, there's kind of something else to be said about it. I'm gonna try to be as unbiased as possible. I'm trying to keep my Spurs emotions out of it, if you will. Mm-hmm. But
please, please do that.
Yes. So, as a Spurs fan, we're the Spurs fans are outraged. You just lost. This guy was arguably, a top 2, top 3 player in the league. He was an MVP candidate, when Russell Westbrook won it that year. And so, yeah, we're losing a guy who's, we're losing a James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant type guy, so, as a Spurs fan, yeah, I'm outraged. I don't like what happened. Now, from a general point of view, from an outsider, let's say I'm another GM looking in. I think the Spurs made a couple mistakes, and the league's changing. I think Kawhi, this thing with Kawhi is symbolism, if you will, of the league and how it's changing. How these superstars now they're a different breed of superstar. You know, they say that the NBA is run by superstars, and it is. And now these superstars are a different breed. They're not the way they used to be. You know, they're not Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley and Karl Malone. Those superstars are gone. You know, now we have, like you were saying, you know, like my opinion of these guys is, you know, that they're soft. The superstar nowadays in the NBA is incredibly soft. And Kawhi, Kawhi and the way he's been acting, his lack of say in the matter, you know.
He's been a ghost. He's been a ghost. Like, yeah, it's not like he's come out and he's not the type of guy to do that. I mean, let's be fair. Did we ever see Tim Duncan come out and have to defend himself or make a public statement or whatever? No, we didn't. But we never really had to.
Right, and you know, and like I said, and that kind of goes back to, you know, Tim Duncan. You know, those superstars are long gone. You know. And I think the Spurs, you know, that old school way of thinking, you know, the team come first mentality, you know, I think that like I said, you know, the superstars of this league and the league are changing to where, you know, are the Spurs going to have to make changes? You know, are they going to have to change the Spurs way or alter it a little bit in order to keep superstars or to attract superstars? You know, I mean, that's a question that, you know, that's a question that somebody would have to ask themselves. You know, if I'm a Spurs fan, I love the way. The reason why I am a Spurs fan is because of the way they run things. But you know, it's the game. The game's changing. These stars are changing, and maybe the Spurs need to change too. And you know, for better for worse, this league is about stars. You know, you got to have them to compete.
I think you're onto something there, because if you look at the trends in the Spurs since Tim Duncan has left, right? Tim Duncan was really the anchor there, that if someone wanted to speak out, they knew better because Timmy was there. And ever since he left, you know, the year after, it was LaMarcus Aldridge wanted out. He wasn't happy. Then the year later, now is the way we're dealing with Kawhi. He's not happy. And those are our two best players. Those are our two all-NBA players. And if they can't keep it together there in San Antonio, you know, you might be right. I think it's just a different generation, different breed.
Yeah, you know, and the Spurs might have made their mistakes. You know, the Tony Parker thing of you know, coming out in public and saying that his injury was worse. You know, that was a mistake. You know, I mean, and I'm saying this as an outsider. You know, I'm trying to keep myself, you know, as an outsider as much as possible. But you know, that could be considered a mistake. The way Popovich, you know, the way he kept referring to Kawhi and his group as they were separate from the team, you know, that right there might have been another mistake. That, you know, all these things was just ammunition for this kid to use now. You know, all summer long, you know, as soon as the season finished and summer started, free agency happened, that's all that's been, that Kawhi and his group, you know, as they call it, that's all they've been throwing out there. And you know, they have plenty of ammunition from what. Huh?
Uncle Dennis the Menace.
Uncle Dennis the Menace. Yeah, I mean, they had plenty of ammunition to throw out there. You know, as far as why he wants to leave. You know, and they used that. You know, they used everything that happened, the team meeting, you know, things like that. You know, and I really think that Popovich orchestrated those things. You know, I don't think Manu and Tony Parker and those guys, I don't think they do that, you know, without Pop say so. You know, I think, you know, Pop being a head coach, you know, GM type, you know, that might have been a mistake as well.
It's not like this is the first team meeting to ever happen in the NBA. You know, like, it's not like it's the first time a player has spoken out on some things that he's not happy with about a teammate. Like, these things happen. This is all part of the league. But now, yeah. I just don't. I don't want to hurt his feelings. Part of the problem. You know, you have to be careful now with these players. Like, they just.
Oh yeah, it's squishy soft, man. These guys are squishy soft. You know, and talking about the Kawhi trade, you know, and you're looking on the other side of the coin, you're looking at DeMar DeRozan. You know, he's over here and he's complaining. You know, he's unhappy about the way, you know, that got handled. But it's like, hey man, you know, you're getting paid $28 million a year. You know, that's not the best. You know, that's not a contract that everybody in the league wants to have. You know, it's it's one of those things where I think Toronto is in a position where I think they're clearing house. They just got rid of the coach. Now they got rid of their big contract in DeMar DeRozan. And I think, honestly, if it doesn't work out with Kawhi, they're just going to ship him. They're going to hold him to trade him I guarantee you, Kawhi gets traded at the deadline, or he bolts in a year. But the Raptors, I don't think they take a rental like that.
Without being okay
we're going to keep him
with either option.
I think they're going to clean up. Yeah, I think they're going to clean house. I think, you know what, we got rid of DeRozan's contract. We're going to have Kawhi for maybe half a season, a year, and let's get some young talent for this guy, because I don't see how they would want Kawhi to just walk for nothing at the end of the year. I say they get rid of him at the deadline.
So did you see this coming? Did you see Toronto coming? I think the Spurs were. I think we were all at this point where it felt like Kawhi had all the power, right? Kawhi and his group had all the power, and it was.
That's what it's come down to. That's the NBA now.
Yeah. The players are in control, and he had made it known that he wanted to go to LA, and that was it. And so we felt handcuffed, and then out of nowhere, how do you feel about how it all played out? And Kawhi ended up not going to LA. He ended up going. Pop literally deported him out of the country to Toronto.
I think, from the Spurs standpoint, they're delaying the inevitable. Kawhi Leonard, this is happening with a year left on his contract. So he's going to get, the way this league is nowadays, he's going to go where he wants to go. It's going to happen eventually. They try to put it off for a year. I don't see, if I was San Antonio, I wouldn't care if he went to LA, or I wouldn't care if he went to the West. He's going to end up there eventually, and it's not like, are they seriously going to make a title run this year?
Who's this? LA?
The Spurs. The Spurs.
Are we going to make a title run?
Right. Like, I don't know what the thinking was. We don't want Kawhi going to Western Conference team, but he's going to go there eventually, in a year.
I don't want him there. I don't want to see. I don't want to see those cornrows except for maybe twice a year in the Eastern Conference. I'm
and as a Spurs fan, I don't want him in the West either. No, I mean, why would we? Why would we want him in the West? But at the same time, it's like he's going to get there eventually. It's not like we can stop it. Like, we can delay it for half a year, but he's going to end up there eventually. So it's not like, we have 1 year to win a championship because Kawhi's not in the West or whatever. It's not. It doesn't work like that.
What happened to the respect? I mean, what happened to just honoring your word? I mean, like, I'm all for players having power and the upper hand in this league, but ultimately it's a business, and the owners and the GMs need to do their jobs to protect the NBA. Now, on the players' side, I feel like they have to honor their contracts. There's this new term, you probably heard it, like Bill Simmons and the Bill Simmons podcast and Jalen Rose, they've coined this new phrase called pre-agency. It's like that year or two before their free agency where they have this negotiation. You saw it with Kyrie Irving. You saw it with Paul George last year, forcing his way out of Indiana, and now you see it with Kawhi. They've taken this 2-year point of their contract where they're like, I'm not gonna stay, so you guys do whatever you want. I'm not gonna stay, and it pushes. I mean, what are contracts now? Like, it's a business. The business side will always trump the loyalty side. That's why DeMar DeRozan's really hurt, and I get it. They were telling him he wasn't going to get traded, but they were telling Boogie Cousins that he wasn't going to get traded from Sacramento. They actually had him in management meetings talking about who does he want, what type of player does he want to put around. It's like if they were building the team for him in the future.
Right.
2 weeks later, boom, he's gone.
And Boogie's another idiot. Like, I don't want to throw, but he's another example of somebody who's just soft. They're soft. They complain about everything, and he's getting, he was getting paid pretty good money. I get he's hurt and things like that, but before that, he was, it was always about him. And it's just, again, another example of how these guys just are soft. They need to wake up. It's a business. you guys run the league enough already, and then now you want to complain because you get traded somewhere. You get paid to play basketball. That's bottom line. You get paid $25-30 million a year to play basketball. Play basketball.
Yeah.
Just play basketball, and that's and you're right about the owners, how they need to protect the league. It's and Adam Silver, the commissioner is the one to blame too. He needs to put his foot down and defend the game, defend the league. I'm a Spurs fan, yes, but because I'm a fan of the game. I like the way they play the game. I like how it's about the game. They're professional about the game and how they contribute to the game. I'm in love with the game itself. I'm not in love with Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James, and I don't get wooed and awed by Steph Curry and all these superstars. I like watching the game for what it is. And these superstars, these spoiled superstars are just running wild, doing whatever they want in this league. And since when do these guys know what's best for themselves in the league? These guys don't know anything. A bunch of kids, and they just want to go where they want to go and win championships or whatever. They don't care about the game itself. They just care about themselves. And so from a fan's point of view, I think that's why the league is broken. I think this trade, this Kawhi Derozan thing, it's just another example, that which shows, why this league is broken and where it's come down to. And it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. It's kind of turned me away from the NBA in general. I'm already at the point where every time I hear something, it's just more drama about guys complaining. This thing with Carmelo Anthony, he wants to get traded just to get waived, and now he's going to get paid $28 million not to play, or it's like you never hear about this, and you never hear about this kind of thing in the NFL or in the MLB or in any other sport, that I know of, at least that I watch. It's ridiculous what they're doing here.
It's like when did getting paid millions and millions of dollars become not enough for you to want to do your job?
No, it's not enough. Everything has to be perfect. All the head coach yells at me. Oh, it hurts my feelings. It's like, grow up. Oh, they traded me. My feelings are hurt. Grow up. These guys, softest players in sports. Like, I know I'm getting a little bit emotional, but it's just, you can just cite examples throughout the year.
Podcasting, Steven.
Throughout the years, halfway into the season, the end of the season, free agency, it's just the NBA is it's just drama and guys crying and complaining, and they're the highest paid guys. Since when do you hear about a $28 million a year guy crying and complaining this much?
Yeah.
And then a guy who's for $219 million, a $219 million contract, crying this much. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I can't. It's just for the sake of the game. This is pitiful.
And then the report started. Or go ahead.
Oh no, it's just there's a lot of people to blame. The owners are at fault. The players, I think the Players Association, the NBA Players Association, has way too much say so. Adam Silver just lets those guys run all over him.
Yeah.
It's
like,
just,
I think they should get their money. Like I think the player organization has done a good job of allowing these guys to get their money. But what they have also gotten, and LeBron has kind of shown the way how to do it, kind of, found the loopholes in the system, is how to get what you want. These guys not only get their money, but they get everything else that they want. When I started hearing the reports about Kawhi Leonard has no intention of playing for Toronto. He's not going to play for Toronto. Like, even if he's healthy, he's going to sit out. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, see, but he can't do that because he won't be a free agent. It goes back to what you're saying, the pre-agency, he has to play. He has to display some sort of enthusiasm for what he's going to do, because if you do that, not only are you sitting out for 2 seasons, like right now, Kawhi, what he's trying to do right now, the smart thing, and I think even his idiot of an uncle, okay, I think even he knows this, is right now he's got to save face, and it's got to be about his reputation. Look, you know, if I want to be in LA in a year, or maybe, you know, at the trade deadline I might end up in LA or whatever his plan is for the future, he's got to just come in and save face. You know, people are already questioning you. You know, people are already questioning you as a player. They're questioning your attitude. They're questioning your motives. And so you don't want to further, you know, solidify your status as a hurt player, or a guy who's unhealthy, or a guy that's not loyal, or a guy that's not going to play unless, you know, things are going his way. And so, he has to be open to playing in Toronto. He has to. If you don't like it, he's going to act like he does. If he's smart.
Yeah, if he's smart. And you know what? I'm not going to be hypocritical. Like, I loved Kawhi, dude. I emotionally bought into Kawhi Leonard, and I don't think he's any of these things, you know, that are being reported. He's this, he's that, he's that. I think that's all the people around him influence him to make bad choices. I don't think this whole plan, this whole agenda that they had with all this ended how they wanted it to end it. I think the last thing that they had in their mind was that Kawhi Leonard was going to end up playing in Toronto, you know, for a season. Now, like I think he's gonna play. I mean, the reports are that he's gonna go and he's gonna play for Team USA next week, with Pop, and that should be interesting. I mean, Pop's a great guy. Pop's not gonna hold anything against him or whatever. I'm sure Pop cares about him more as a person than as a player, so everything's gonna be okay there. But he's healthy. From all signs around, you know, the atmosphere is that he's healthy enough to play. So he's just got to man up and play, or else he doesn't get paid. I mean, there's got to be some type of repercussion if he decides to sit out with Toronto. But actually, I just got a picture on Twitter a few hours ago about. I mean, it showed Kawhi in Toronto with some of the staff there.
Well, he has to play, man. If he doesn't play, he's not eligible for free agency. You know, I think there's a rule in place in the league now that, you know, if you're in the final 2 years of your contract or the final year of your contract and you choose to sit out for whatever reason, I mean, there's injury and there's things like that, you know what I'm saying, that are exceptions, but that if he just decides to plain out sit, then he won't be a free agent in a year, you know. So he has to play. And I think, you know, and you bringing up the USA thing, you know, I think that has a big part in why the Spurs were so hurried. You know, like going back to the trade itself, I don't think it was the best trade in the world. I honestly, from the Spurs standpoint, you know, yes, we got an all-star back, but I mean,
that was going to be my next question. Who do you think won this trade?
It's the rule of thumb, you know, usually is whoever gets the bigger star usually wins the trade. Now, I get it. You know, the fact that this trade happened before Team USA, you know, to me was huge. It was huge because, you know, no one really knows for certain how Kawhi is going to come back. He's coming back from an injury. Is he going to come back 100%? Is he going to come back better? Or is he going to come back with, you know, a loss in his step? Is he not going to be as explosive? You know, there's all these questions that go about that are unanswered. And the fact that this trade happened before the Team USA thing, because the people are going to find out. Team USA, everyone's going to find out. You know, how, you know, is he 100% or is he not? You know, can he still do what he was doing 2 years ago? We'll see. You know, everyone's going to find out. So, you know, I think San Antonio, you know, I think they were kind of like, you know what, we don't know what this thing's going to be like. We don't know how he's going to come back. So let's see if we can trade him now. You know, I feel like San Antonio rushed, you know, and you know, I think they rushed. I think they rushed, and I think they had to. You know, I think they were a little bit nervous. You know, this Team USA thing coming up, you know, you're kind of thinking, well, if we wait and people see what he can do and this and that, and it could have helped him, but it also could have hurt them.
Yeah.
So they were like, San Antonio,
they were like at the poker table in Vegas, and they were like, "Oh, I'm up a little bit right now, but if I stay a little longer, I might lose everything. I could win more." But the smart thing would be to walk away.
And they did the conservative thing.
Yeah, exactly.
They did the conservative thing. So, they went ahead and made the trade before. Now it's in the ball's in Toronto's court. Did they make a good decision or not based on the past and the injury? And we'll see. Toronto's probably going to be the ones that everyone's going to be watching how healthy is he? When he reports. And so we'll see if that was a really good trade or not, but that remains to be seen. So a lot of that, whether that's one way to look at it. Did San Antonio really lose out or win out? I mean, it didn't matter. He was gone either way, but we'll see. Toronto will get either really lucky or not. But I think for Kawhi, he's eager to get on the court. He wants to play. He wants to show that he still can go, and I think this is an opportunity to take over the East. Should he come back healthy, he can prove something. It's a LeBron-less East.
I think they could win the East. I mean, I know how good Boston is. I'm not stupid. I know that they went to the Eastern Conference Finals without Gordon Hayward and Kawhi Leonard. I mean Kyrie Irving. And I don't think Philly's going to be as good as they were last year. They lost a few of the pieces that kind of made them successful in the playoffs. They lost Ilyasova and Bellinelli, a lot of, like low-key guys, but they were, a big part of what they did last year. Same thing with Houston. But anyway, back to the East, I think a Kyle Lowry and a Kawhi Leonard and a pretty Danny Green. Let's not forget they got Danny Green too. I think
the defense is going to...
Yeah, they're going to be pretty damn good on the defensive side. And they have a couple young players, and it's funny because this might be the best year in Toronto Raptor basketball franchise history. They might go to the finals. They could. I think they're good enough. If Kawhi is healthy, they're good enough to get to the finals, and then that might be it. Kawhi might leave because he just wants to be at home probably with his mom and over there in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel like as a Spurs fan, like we're all happy that this whole thing is over, but we're still gonna keep like one of our eyes over there in Toronto just to see. We're gonna be keeping tabs on what's going on in Toronto more than ever.
Yeah. And going back, we will, and it's one of those things where I don't think it's really going to matter. It's like, well, if he's good, great. If he's not, then, who cares? It's not like he's not a problem anymore. It's not like he's going to come back, Yeah. But as far as the trade itself, I think the Spurs, they didn't get everything they could get from him. But it was one of those things where, hey, we're getting an all-star for an all-star. But the thing is though is I'm thinking from a Spurs fan is like, man, this guy he's no Kawhi. He's not a defender. He's definitely not a 3-point shooter. He's just a go to the rack, pull up jumper type guy. And that mid range game from San Antonio is going to be crazy. We're going to be leading the NBA in mid range jumpers. Yeah. Between him and LA, where it's going to be mid range jumpers. Ride or die by the mid-range jumper is basically what it's going to be this year. And in a league where it's a 3-point shooting league, we got Bellinelli, which is great. I think that's an upgrade from the Danny Green thing. But, it's not like we got the best, for what we gave up. And so from the Spurs, as far as the trade itself, I think.
Which if we didn't get anybody named LeBron or Kevin Durant back for Kawhi, we weren't going to win this trade.
Right. And so, I think Spurs fans, you got to see it for what it is, but at the same time, it's like, hey, we got an all-star back. We won 47 games without Kawhi Leonard, so we're definitely a better team now than we were last year because, we didn't have Kawhi Leonard last year. That's the thing about the Spurs. We showed.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, was that the Spurs showed that they can be a playoff team and a playoff contender without Kawhi Leonard, so now you're adding an all-star to the mix. Well, yeah, they'll win 50 games. I think they'll win 50 games. They'll be all right. I think Pop, he'll stay, I think he'll keep that playoff streak going till retirement.
Yeah, for the next few years.
From that standpoint.
He'll retire with this kind of combination of DeMar and LA.
Right. And so, we'll see what happens, So from that standpoint, yeah, I mean, it's not like, we got something for him. We're a better team at the end of the day than we were last year. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to look at it like that, then yeah, it's a good trade. But if you want to look at it as like, oh, did we, a guy like Kawhi, at any other time in free agency or any other time you're going to trade him, you're going to get an all-star and you're going to get lottery picks. And that was the thing that I didn't like about this trade was no lottery picks. None. It's like we got an all-star, like a subpar all-star. Yeah, we got like a B all-star. Mm-hmm. He's not an A plus, but he's like a B plus. He's not a shooter. He's going to help. He'll lead the team in scoring.
Yeah.
But we didn't get lottery picks. And I was thinking, man, we should have at least gotten 1 or 2 lottery picks.
Yeah, we got one.
I was kind of disappointed in that.
Top 20 protected, which is probably what's going to happen. Is that we're going to end up getting the Raptors late first round picks. So we might have 2 late first round picks next year. I don't see, unless Toronto just ships them off really quick and ships off Lowry and they tank and then they get a top 20 pick, then it becomes 2 second round picks next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, so really quick, to wrap it up before I let you go, where do you think the Spurs finish in the Western Conference next year? And give me your top.
Oh my goodness.
Give me your top 8 Western Conference teams.
Oh man. Well, where are the Spurs gonna finish? It can be anywhere from 3 to 10. But let me see here. Let's just based on what we saw this last season. No, but where do I think the Spurs are going to finish? If I had to predict a spot, I would say I think they'll get the 6th seed. I think they'll get the 6th seed. Mm-hmm. Maybe the 5th. And Golden State's going to get the first spot probably. Houston is they got a little bit. They dropped off a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I still see them as the 2 seed. Maybe Golden State, Houston trading up like they did this year, and then the 3rd seed. Now you got teams. You got the Utah Jazz, you got Portland, you got OKC, you have LA now is in the mix. Mm-hmm. San Antonio. I know I'm missing somebody. The Pelicans are in the mix. The Timberwolves. That's already 7 teams. The Denver Nuggets, I don't know if I said them right. That's already 8 teams right there. Yeah. So you got those 8 teams, and I might have missed another one. I don't know, but you got those 8 teams basically fighting for 6 spots. And that's the way. That's the way it's going to be in the West.
Yeah. Minnesota's another one that we forgot.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but I agree, man. The one thing that I'm gonna say this right now, and I'm gonna hold on to it until I don't think Houston's gonna get a top 3 seed. I don't think they're gonna be as good as they were last year. They're not gonna win as many regular season games. They might finish top 3 or 4. I wouldn't be surprised if OKC gets better. I think they got better. The addition by subtraction by getting rid of Melo. I think they're gonna be a lot better. And I think Utah is going to stay pretty solid. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's like Golden State, Utah, OKC, and then maybe Houston. And then it's a free for all after that.
Right. And who knows? The Spurs. Like I said, the Spurs won 47 games. They might win 53, and that might be enough to get the 3rd spot. I mean, stranger things have happened. We don't. It's like. LaMarcus Aldridge, we saw what he could do last year, and now he's got another all-star, all-NBA type player. Mm-hmm. And so, in that system, with that the way they play defense, I wouldn't be surprised if the Spurs work their way to the 3rd spot. I mean, that's not far-fetched at all.
It might be a pretty scary team next year if we improve our shooting, which I think our personnel moves have done that, and if DeMar DeRozan can buy into the defensive end, and the sky's the limit. Hey, well, thank you, Steven, for stopping by and hanging out for a little while. I know you got to go enjoy the Astros game, So I'll let you go, brother man.
Alrighty, man. Appreciate you having me on.
No,
It's been
man.
fun.
Always. You're always welcome on a Bucking Spurs podcast, brother.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you go. I'll talk to you later, man.
Okay, we'll see you.
All right,
Bye.
adios. Big shout out to Steven Garcia for hanging out. I love having Steven on the pod. He always tells it like it is, and his point of view is always spot on. And he's a young cat with an old school mentality, and that's what we love about Steven. On not just basketball but all sports in general. Shout out to Steven. Go Cowboys, right, Steven? Woo. Up next, we got out of California, posted up in La La Land. We have Phillip Booe. Phill and I spent many years living in San Antonio together, going to many Spurs games. You'll hear me talk about it in the pod. Phillip had, or still has, I believe, season tickets. And I got in to a lot of Spurs games thanks to this guy. And, all the price of admission for me was just, beers on the house. Beers from me and a couple beers got me into a Spurs game, playoff games, and I can't thank Phill enough for giving me that experience. It was one of my best friends. So without any further ado, here's Phillip Booe. All right, we got Phill Booe out in California. What's up, Felipe?
What's up? What's up? Thanks for having me, Rob. How you doing?
Now, of course, man, I'm doing good. I'm holding it down over here in Texas, man. How's La La Land?
Hey, it's been good. It's been a hot one, starting to get hot out here. But the Texas boy can cope. It's no big deal.
How's La La Land post LeBron?
Bro, it's weird because I see all this how people hate it, not really liking him coming to LA, all the Kobe fans, the true LA fans, but everybody I've talked to at work, at bars and shit, everybody's stoked. You know what I mean? I'm excited that he's in LA. Shit, I'm gonna probably catch a game. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like it's hard to not. How you're not gonna be excited if King James is on your team? I don't know.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
That's what I've been seeing. It's been really interesting because you're exactly right. All on social media, you've been seeing a lot of people really excited, and then a lot of people that have mixed feelings about it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of just
there's been
a
a lot of
total
murals
LA thing
and
to do.
they've been vandalized and stuff.
It's so LA to do. Yeah, I guess we got LeBron. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess a lot of people were hooked on that young team they had. They were trying, kind of building up. But I don't know, man. How are you not going to be stoked LeBron James coming? I don't know. Is the whole Kawhi thing is true? He's just going to be on, in Toronto on rent for his season, and then come to LA, see what happens there.
Well, they should. I would think that the Laker fans shouldn't be too upset. They didn't have to give away their house and all these young players to get Kawhi. They're probably just going to end up getting him next year when he's a free agent.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get into it, man. Phil's, in case the listeners don't know, Phil's been a Spurs season ticket holder for many, many years now. Before he was in Los Angeles, we were both in San Antonio for many years, and we've seen this kid just grow up, Kawhi Leonard. So let's get into it. How have you coped? What is your take on just this whole 7 and 8 month debacle that we've gone through with this guy?
Oh man, it's been a roller coaster, and it's been tough. I feel like the dumb girlfriend that stays with the guy that's getting cheated on, and you're just no, do you want to believe it's not true? But it's just it's tough to hear that he didn't want to be in San Antonio, and there was rumors that he didn't even want to play, and it pretty much happened. That maybe his injury wasn't as bad as claimed. But at the same time, I mean, man, thank you, Kawhi Leonard, for the entertainment, everything you brought to San Antonio, that 2014 championship. We wouldn't have done it without him, and he worked his ass off for us, man. And I got mixed feelings about the situation too, because if he doesn't want to live there and have a family there, start a career, or finish his career there, it's how are you going to want a guy to stay somewhere he doesn't want to be, type of deal. And it's he paid his dues. Like, he probably learned so much under Popovich, and like Popovich said, he's going to continue to be a great player, and I'm going to keep on watching him.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I was the same guy. I was just like, I really didn't want to believe that he was gonna leave. Like, I thought this was just kind of like an emotional standoff. Like, hey, like, you guys need to treat me better. This year was just a bunch of bullshit, and I'm not gonna go through all this again if I get hurt. And he was just maybe making a statement. I was kind of just hoping it was just that, that at the end of the day, he wasn't gonna turn down $221 million, and he was gonna stay with the Spurs, man. And I agree with you, man. I really liked Kawhi Leonard. I really thought he was going to be the future. I mean, I really emotionally bought into that. And the 2014 championship, we wouldn't have won it without him, just like you said. And it's just hard. It's actually pretty rough. It's not just like, okay, bye. A lot of people on social media have just been dogging the hell out of him. Like, get out of here. You don't want to be here and all that stuff like that. But, I mean, it's not that black and white.
No, not at all. But yeah, it is tough. It's tough, as a Spurs fan to hear it, that, he doesn't want to be there. And I definitely bought into the system or theory, building a team around a dude that's maybe the third, fourth best dude in the NBA. That was something hopeful. You had faith that, wasn't really so much of a rebuilding stage, post Tim Duncan, but now it's more of a reality that day's coming sooner, than later.
Yeah. He really was supposed to take us into the next decade, but it's now a new reality. Like you said, it's a post Kawhi Leonard San Antonio Spurs team, which is just kind of weird. But I mean, hey, I went on record a bunch of times saying I didn't want no trade. If this was gonna happen and there was no avoiding it, I didn't want a young package deal where we were going to trade Kawhi Leonard for any type of like unproven commodity, like young players or draft picks and things of that nature. And so when the Toronto Raptor rumor came out just a few days before it actually happened, I was kind of like, okay, like a superstar for superstar trade. I think I could dig it. What do you think about DeMar DeRozan?
Oh man, I mean, I'm surprised that the Spurs was able to pull that off. Honestly, like I think he's going to come to San Antonio kind of with a chip on his shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, Toronto's just going to just trade me just like that, just thinking Kawhi Leonard's better than me. Well, like, check out what I'm going to do for the San Antonio organization with LaMarcus Aldridge, averaging 20-some points. You know what I mean? And I've been watching highlights of him. He's just as clutch. He wants to take those big shots at the end of the game, and which is nice. Which usually I'd want Manu Ginobili doing that, but let's face it, the guy's getting old. He's still running on some grandpa juice, but I like it.
Yeah.
But honestly, I hopefully DeMar comes to San Antonio. He can buy into the system, and he enjoys playing basketball there. And I really feel like he could gel, and I feel like it's something that could work.
Yeah, it's a perfect fit. I mean, if you think about it, if we're going to focus our offense around LaMarcus Aldridge, we need a guy who can pick and roll with him, and that's DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan's kind of like an old school two guard. Like, he's not always trying to just like step back and hit a 3-point, shot the way most of the league is. He's kind of like, I'm going to go ahead and get to the rim, take a mid-range jumper. And that dynamic with LaMarcus Aldridge might be something special. Like you said, they both averaged 20-some points a game. They were both all NBA players. They're both, I mean, we have, if you think about it, it's kind of weird, but we have we lost Kawhi Leonard, who is a top 3 player in the game, an MVP candidate, and we still have 2 of the top 15 players in the game right now.
Yep.
It's not a complete loss. I think we should be okay.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting.
But man, it's kind of like you said. I feel like weird is the word with the new San Antonio Spurs roster. It's no Tony Parker. I mean, I know it's been a while, but I'm still, it's just no Tim Duncan's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's Kawhi Leonard, who is, becoming my favorite Spurs player.
Yeah.
Just decides, this isn't the organization or club for him. And honestly, now even Danny Green, Tony Parker leaving too. It's tough. It's weird.
Like who is the remaining? Who are the remaining pieces from the 2014 team? Patty Mills.
Yeah, it's like Patty Mills and Manu.
And
maybe with Bellinelli.
Yeah.
That squad.
We got Bellinelli back, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Open up the court. Hopefully he can find his stroke for us.
Yeah, because honestly, and I kind of want to get into Danny Green here in a moment, and kind of what he has meant to us and how we've seen him grow up. But if we kind of put his history aside and we just look at the past 2 seasons, he hasn't really been shooting that well for us. And it goes back into the playoffs this year where LaMarcus Aldridge can try to do everything that he can. But if he gets double team and he kicks the ball out and no one's going to be making shots, we're not going to win without a Kawhi Leonard, And I thought bringing Bellinelli back into the fold really addressed that issue.
Yep. Yeah, and at the same time, Danny Green's inside game, as we all know, is not the best. It's almost when he dribbles, it's like, nah, just shoot it, Danny. Get rid of it or shoot it. Yeah. But getting back to Danny though, I'm gonna miss his lockdown defense. For a shooting guard, he'd get a ridiculous amount of blocks, small forward or whatever position he'd be playing. And then but he lost that clutch 3 ability that we saw in his past. But at the same time, also Danny Green, man, great human being. I felt like he gave so much back to the community of San Antonio. He's just active, always show face, and just a solid dude in my eyes.
He's an unsung hero, like in San Antonio. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't really put a lot of thought into how Danny Green and why Danny Green has been successful and with the Spurs for so long, and you said it. You said it, man. He's a real big community guy. I mean, he does basketball camps, dude, here in South Texas. Like he has a camp in McAllen.
Yeah, I saw that.
He has one in Brownsville. In Corpus. He travels all over the place, and he's big time here with the Spurs fans. And he's unbeknownst to a lot of people, he's a culture setting guy. He earned his spot through the defensive end. He would have never played unless he was able to guard in the beginning of his career, and then he kind of developed into a sniper, and then he just locked down that role, that starting position, for the last 3-4 years of his career with us. And that sets the tone for everyone else. It's like Danny Green's not going to give up his spot because he's going to lock you down on the defensive end. And all the young guys that come in, they see that and they're like, okay, if I want to play, if I want my opportunity, just the way Danny did, I have to be able to defend.
Yep.
It's very unfortunate that he got in the middle. He just got in the middle of, the crossfire between Kawhi and the Spurs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really hope Patty kind of finds his game back. He had a couple good games this last season, but I feel like maybe he needs to find his stroke back. He used to be so clutch too. I feel like fearless to take any shot. But we'll see what happens this next season.
I kind of feel like without Kawhi going into the playoffs, we were asking Patty Mills to do a lot more than what he's used to. It's like, yes, he's supposed to come off the bench and score, but going into the playoffs, we really needed him to score 20 points a game, which isn't really his role.
Yeah, that's asking a lot from him.
This is honestly a huge moment for DeJounte Murray. Let's talk about Tony Parker, man. Tony Parker's gone. Did you ever think you'd see the day?
You know, I thought he was going to retire a Spur. I definitely did. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm shocked. But you know, hopefully, you know, he finds what he was looking for. Maybe it was more minutes that he wanted or something. But yeah, it's sad, man. I feel like he wasn't contributing as much as he used to. He maybe lost that slick spin move he used to have right under the basket.
Mm-hmm.
He used to always just lay it up, throw his body to the ground. So ridiculous. He still has that clutch jump shot. Yeah, man, it's so many good memories with that dude. It's weird. It's just weird not watching the big three, man. It's just weird. Just growing up on that for so long, and now it's just like we got a whole new set of guys.
Yeah. DeJounte Murray has a lot of pressure, big shoes to fill.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if he's taking that starting role, that's big time.
I'm kind of bummed Kyle Anderson left too. I was a big Kyle Anderson fan. I felt like that kid is pretty good.
Yeah, me too. I mean, he earned it. I think he earned, he earned the next step of his career. I don't think he was ever going to be that starting three or small or power forward for us. So I think he kind of pushed himself to that level where maybe he should be on a certain team. Maybe a certain team was willing to pay him that type of money, and he got the opportunity, man. In Memphis, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be such a weird season, man. And we're gonna be playing against Kawhi Leonard, playing against Kyle Anderson, playing against Tony Parker. You know, it's gonna be very surreal.
At the same time, I'm excited though. We'll see what DeMar can bring to the table, and see if Spurs can come back after that weird season.
Yeah, I think everyone is kind of underestimating how good DeMar DeRozan is going to be with the Spurs, because he was extremely good in Toronto in a system that certain shots don't come easy. He has to create a lot for himself on pick and roll situations, and being in the Spurs system, I think some of these shots are just going to come easier for him. He's going to be maybe scoring at a higher clip, and it's going to be real interesting to see him, because, man, I did the same thing as you did. I went to the highlight reels on YouTube, and I started just saying, okay. And I was like, oh, my God, this guy is crazy good. Being out here on the West Coast, we only see him maybe twice a year, except for the playoffs.
Exactly. But yeah, man, I'm excited for the season, and it should be an interesting one. It's crazy. Just the Warriors powerhouse in the league. It's ridiculous, but nonetheless, it should be interesting.
Yeah. So right now, as of today, July, what is it, 19th?
19th.
Where do you think the Spurs stand in the Western Conference?
All right. Well, Warriors and Rockets, I feel like that's 1 and 2.
Okay.
I don't know, man. Everybody's just automatically saying the Lakers are already, they're already a contender just because LeBron. But it's tough not to say that, because I feel like LeBron James has done it with worse teams.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Maybe I put him at 5.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah. But now I'm trying to think of who's in that 4th spot. OKC was kind of interesting last year with their kind of lineup of players. CFPG and
what do you think about Utah?
Oh man, yeah, Utah's good. What's that guy's name?
Mitchell, Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude, that guy's remarkable. I'd love to see him in a Spurs jersey.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing I think people are kind of rolling by is the fact that Houston lost Trevor Ariza.
Yeah.
They've lost another Luke Baum-Mute is another wing defender, and I don't know. I mean, those are 2 big pieces, defensively for these guys. I don't think that they're going to be the same Houston Rockets as this year. I think they're going to take a big drop off. I think they won 63 games this year. I think that's going to be somewhere around 55, 50, low 50s. Still pretty good, but I think their window might be closed, man. I think last year was their only year where I think all the pieces were kind of falling into the place where they could beat the Warriors, but Chris Paul's getting old too, and they just gave him a max contract.
That's crazy, yeah. But man, what a series that Houston Rockets Warriors was last year.
Yeah, that was the closest thing we got to maybe seeing a team dethrone the Warriors.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So how much?
It's tough because I'm not a Warriors fan, but man, I like Steph Curry. There's certain players I like on the team, and it's just like why you got to be so good? Why you guys have to have all those dudes on one team? And so yeah, that's just how I feel. I got mixed feelings about that too.
Hey, so now that we're post Kawhi and all this is over, how much anger do you have now against Zaza Pachulia?
Oh man, yeah. Does that change it? Yeah. Was that the pivotal moment that where Kawhi got hurt, and now he's second guessing his whole career? He has time to think about stuff where he's not playing basketball, probably not enjoying San Antonio while he's not playing. Maybe you know what I mean.
Man, if you think about it, besides
I'm not
Houston,
gonna lie, man. I used to live in San Antonio 8 years something. I came out to California. There's a lot to do out here. It's a fun city.
It's a fun place to be. I know. I think like 90% of the NBA has their off season in LA. They all go to LA. They all work out over there.
Oh yeah, Manchester United right now is in LA right now training. Like soccer teams do it too. Mm-hmm. Dallas Cowboys do it.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, I just can't go back to that moment and think that besides the Houston Rockets, that was the last time where I think Golden State was in a position where they might lose the series. Was just in those first 3 quarters against the Spurs, going down 20, and they're about to get all they can handle, and then Zaza goes ahead and sticks his leg underneath, and it was over. You ready for fantasy football, Phillip?
Man, I've been so caught up in the World Cup and just with life and work. Oh man, I'm kind of worried about it. I've seen my roommates, all they do are just listening to podcasts and stuff like that. I feel like I'm a little behind on the game on the research, but I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. The season was good last year. Yeah, I don't know who's your first pick. Who's someone you want on your team? What are some sleeper running backs? Give the world and me some advice.
I don't know. I'm really big on the Jags right now, so I think Fournette might be one of my. If I'm a high first round pick, I might steal Fournette.
How do you feel about David Johnson? You think he's going to come back like that season prior where he was just a beast?
I hope so. The thing is, I'm real scared of. I don't want. Yeah, I don't want to draft the guy and then he gets hurt or it goes back to a committee and whatnot. And I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Hey, Phil, well, thanks for. I'm gonna let you go, man. Thanks for coming on the pod and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thanks for having me again, and like always, go Spurs, go, baby.
Go Spurs, go, baby. That's right. All right, man. I'll talk to you soon. You take care.
All right, take it easy, man. Peace.
All right, bye, brother, man. Big shout out to my dad, Steven Garcia, Phillip Booe. You'll be hearing these guys more often on the pod, especially once the season kind of kicks off. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to go to eavesdropstudios.com /podcast Buck and Spur. You'll find the Buck and Spurs page on there. Make sure to follow a Bucking Spurs on iTunes and Google Play. Make sure that you follow on Twitter at Bucking Spurs, Instagram, a Bucking Spurs podcast. Make sure you share, and as always, Go, Spurs, go.
Are we having fun yet? I want some nasty!